Okay, welcome everyone. The hour being 7 p.m. on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. The Tooele City Council and the Tooele City Redevelopment Agency are meeting in a business meeting. The meeting's being held at Tooele City Hall and the council chambers located at 90 North Main Street in Tooele, Utah. This is also being streamed on the Tooele City YouTube channel. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please rise and repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to our second item, which is a roll call. Councilwoman Manzione.
Present.
Councilwoman Goches.
Present.
Councilman Hanson.
Present.
Councilman McCall.
Present.
I'm Councilman Brady. I'm also present. Our third item is the swearing in of the new council members. There's 3 of us, so. Yes.
Come on down. The price is right.
Doesn't sound like it. It's not letting me unmute. Is it? It should be good. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay. All right, well, congratulations to all of you on winning the election. We'll have ladies go first. So, Melody, do you want to come up? Okay, so raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'm going to put the microphone. Okay. Okay, I state your name.
I, Melody Goches,
Having been elected
to the office of Tooele City Council,
to the office of Tooele City Council,
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity. Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I, Justin Brady,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of Tooele City Council,
to the office of Tooele City Council,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity. Thank you.
Excuse me, my voice. I, Ed Hansen,
having been elected
having been elected
to the office of Tooele City Council,
to the office of Tooele City Council,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office with fidelity.
Thank you.
Sign that one too.
Okay, and then if we can just get a picture of all three of you together. It's gonna photo bomb. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now the fun part begins, right? All right, we'll move on to item 4, which is the selection of the City Council and Redevelopment Agency Chair and Vice Chair positions for 2024. We discussed this in our work meeting. Are there any changes since we discussed that?
Mr. Chair, I move that we just accept the assignments as we discussed in our work meeting.
Second.
Is that good enough?
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion from Councilwoman Manzione, a second from Councilman McCall. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. That passes 5-0. Our 5th item is the Mayor's Youth Recognition Awards. We will turn the time over to Mayor Debbie Nguyen.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations to all of you. I know you'll do an excellent job. I'm happy to serve with you all again. Okay, again, this is our, that was pretty impressive, though. So this is kind of hard to beat that, but when we recognize and honor the youth in our community, that's always a big deal to us, because we know that these youth are our future. And we know that they are future leaders. And right now, you know, we always think that our heroes are these people that are older than we are, that we look up to and want to be like. But we find that when we do this honor in our city council meetings and recognize these youth, it's the other way around. We as adults wish that we could be like these children because they are so awesome at what they do. So we have 2 awards tonight. I'm going to ask our police chief, Adrian Day, if he'll come and join me and help to pass out the awards tonight. We have some little backpacks here for them that include some gifts and things from several of our local business owners. And tonight, also in that backpack is a Tooele City puzzle. So that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So we've got the backpacks back there. And what I would like to do is I will introduce our first award winner, and we would ask that they would come up and get their backpack and then stand right here for a minute while I let you know why they have received the award. So our first award tonight is Ambry Lebick Woodruff. Will you please join us? Okay. Ambry was nominated by Principal Hanson from Settlement Canyon Elementary. Ambry's parents are Samantha Woodruff and Justin Zebick. Principal Hansen said, Ambry is always a shining star at Settlement Canyon Elementary. She is so deserving of this special recognition for her exceptional qualities that extend beyond the classroom. Despite facing her own set of challenges, Ambry consistently exhibits care, concern, and compassion for others, making her an inspiration to both peers and educators. What sets Ambry apart is her genuine care and concern for the well-being of others. In various instances, she has gone above and beyond to support her classmates, offering a listening ear and providing comfort during difficult times. She sets an amazing example for her peers and reminds us all that even in face of adversity, kindness, empathy, and friendship can shine brightly. Amberly makes Settlement Canyon Elementary and the world a better place. Congratulations, Ambry. Could we please have Ambry's parents stand up and be recognized? Thank you so much for raising such a wonderful young woman. And like I said, we want to be like that. We want to be able to show empathy and love to other people. So you're a great example. And we have another great example of that tonight, too. Our second Mayor's Youth Award is for Eva Gonzalez. Eva, come and join us. All right. So Eva was nominated by Kirsten Crosley from Overlake Elementary, and Eva's mom is Miracle Rodriguez. Eva goes out of her way to help others in the classroom and school. She is thoughtful and kind. Eva is the first one to help someone when they are sad and helps them feel better. She is accepting of others and likes to give others compliments. In Eva's class, there are students who participate from the social, emotional, behavioral classroom. She helps these students make their lunch choice when they come in each morning. Eva also helps them do their morning work. Overlake Elementary and Tooele City is happy to recognize Eva. Congratulations, Eva. Okay, let's recognize Eva's mom, who's here tonight, and proud mama there, Miracle Rodriguez. So important for us to recognize the good things that these youth do. I'm grateful to the grandmas and grandpas that are here tonight and the brothers and sisters, you family members that are supporting these young people. It is so very important, and we know that they have learned these good things from you. So thank you for sharing your children with us and letting us honor them tonight. So as you heard a few minutes ago when the chairman started the meeting, that we're live streaming this on YouTube. So you can go home and watch it anytime, show it to all of your family. All you need to do is look up on YouTube, Tooele City Channel. If you look up the channel, you'll find it a lot quicker. But we also want to put a picture of you in our local newspaper. The transcript always runs this for us, and we're grateful for our local paper who will do this. So we would like you, I've got your certificates here, so I'm going to hand you your certificates. And parents and anybody else who wants to take a picture, we're going to ask the council to join us in the rotunda, and we're going to get a picture of everyone so that we can put that in the local newspaper. So thank you again. Okay.
Hey.
All right, congratulations to the youth. We appreciate the youth in our community and love to recognize them. We'll move on to item 6, which is our public comment period. This is the time for the public to come and to address the council. We ask that you state your name into the microphone. You keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and then you sign the paper over by Michelle and Loretta. The time is now the public's. Seeing no one come forward, I will close the public comment period and we'll move on to item 7, which is the Tooele Technical College Student of the Year and an annual update. This is presented by President Paul Hacking.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Thank you so much for inviting me and allowing me to come and take some of your valuable time tonight. I feel it's such an honor to come here each year and to give you a brief update and to really put the focus on what we're all about, which is our students. And this year we have a wonderful Student of the Year. You're going to really enjoy it. I am keenly aware, especially having grown up in a small community similar to this, how important it is that we work together to have nice things in our community. And we do that so well here in Tooele, and I'm really grateful to be part of that. We don't have time to waste a lot of effort on arguing over different resources, but rather each focusing on what we do well and supporting each other. And it's a pleasure to work with Tooele City in economic development and in the bigger picture of making this a good community, a better community to live, work, and play. And when we all do our part and live together, we have some great things. And I know specifically with our college, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Tooele City and the foresight of this community to leverage resources to allow us to go to the legislature to get additional resources to build our existing building. And because that decision was made, you had trade-offs, but the trade-offs are sacrificing some money now for the longer view of building better citizens who can pay for their families and raise good families in Tooele, which adds to the fabric of this community. And thank you so much for having that foresight. It's a pleasure to work with USU as well and the school district. And we're seeking really not to grow for growth's sake, but to really focus on finding students that can benefit from the programs that we have at Tooele. And in doing so, we're working very closely with the counselors of the school districts in seeking out those students. Right now, honestly, we don't have room for too many high school students because we're pretty full with adults. But that's why the expansion coming up is so important so that we can grow. We are still up this year about 8% over last year, and over the last 5 years, we're up over 100% from where we were when I first got here. And that's because we've been lifting together. This year we have a few new programs. We've added a basic and advanced EMT program to our institution, and also we have the Pharmacy Tech program. Pharmacy Tech used to be at the CLC just for the high school students, but by bringing it to the technical college, we're able to serve high school students still and to add adults to that. So now adults can work with high school students to get the certification they need to work in our pharmacies here locally. We're trying really hard to get the word out on that, and we hope that you all help us spread the word. We have a fantastic instructor in both our EMT and our Pharmacy Tech programs, and it should be growing. If you've gone by our institution, you've seen a lot of dirt moving. I want to quickly report that our building expansion project is going extremely well. We've had several local businesses give a substantial amount of funding to help us with that project. As you know, we were funded about $25 million 2 years ago. Last year, we went back to the legislature and got another $2.5 million because of the cost of building right now is insane. And unfortunately, we still, when we opened bids, was about $2 million short and had to do some value engineering and look for resources external, which we're very grateful for several companies that have helped us to balance our budget, our building budget, which is moving forward. About this time next year, hopefully, I will be here inviting you to a ribbon cutting when we'll open up, which will basically double the programmatic space in our building with a huge emphasis on our diesel program, which is woefully too small. But what I've said a million times, it is as big as it could have been with the budget we had to begin with. And what we have is amazing for the $15 million that build our existing building. But just in a few short years, you can see how construction costs has almost doubled. Also, I just wanted to report, we are focusing heavily on completion, on getting our students to completion. In the past, our focus was truly on employment because that's what our accrediting body was established to measure our performance, was helping adult students get employment. And for some students, especially if they're needing to feed a family, they don't always make it to the end of the row and get the piece of paper, but we've always celebrated that because that was a success. But now that the technical colleges have been added to the degree granting institutions in the state of Utah, our future funding for programs is based upon performance, and that performance, just like the University of Utah, is based on the numbers of graduates we get. So that's really been a realigning of our focus, and it's very difficult because it's hard to keep people in programs when they have offers for employment at large amounts of money and they have families to feed. But we're working with employers, trying to encourage them to come back and finish their program. So there's kind of a misalignment that we're working through right now. And as we go into the legislative session last year, with the old way of getting funding, we got about $900,000 of additional programmatic funding. And as we open our new building, that's going to be extremely important to be able to add new teachers and new programs to the different spaces. But with this new performance funding measure this year, we're expecting to get about $80,000. So that's quite a difference in focus. So we'll work through that as we go forward, but that's one of the challenges we're facing. Beyond that, though, it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Brenda Severdo, who's our Student of the Year, overall Student of the Year from our welding program. She's got an amazing story. And as you hear her story, I just want to express our gratitude for all you do for us and for your foresight of establishing us in the first place. As I said many times, there's lots of communities the size of Tooele that don't have the resources we have, and that's because of the decisions you've made to establish the educational opportunities we have here in Tooele. But Brenda represents herself, of course. She represents her welding program. She also represents 1,200 other students whose lives have been impacted by Tooele Technical College. Before I turn the time over to her, do you have any questions for me that I can respond to before I give the clock to her?
I have a question.
Yes, thank you.
Do you anticipate with this performance-based funding, do you anticipate there being changes at all at the legislature? Has it?
My hope is that when things, because from especially our local legislators, I hear over and over their desire to support technical education. As you see a change happening across the country with some degrees costing a lot of money and degree holders having a challenging time getting jobs, people are questioning the value of some degrees. Obviously, there's degrees that are very much tied to the economic market. But at technical education, we can place our students at a rate of 90 to 80% in each one of our programs, and sometimes even higher than that. So the legislature is firmly behind technical education, but now that we're all part of one group, in order to lift our institution, which is the smallest of the 16 institutions, you have to lift the others too, because we all get a percentage. And when they see that this is not getting what they want, I'm hoping changes will happen. Thank you. Thank you again for your support, Brenda.
Good evening, everyone. I hope that everyone's doing well and congratulations. It has been an honor not only to be a part of this wonderful Tooele Tech family, but also to witness the amazing growth that's taking place in Tooele County. I'm excited to be an ambassador for Tooele Tech College this year. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about myself and the education journey that has led me to Tooele Tech. Currently, Tooele Tech offers 23 programs. At first glance, you might think that I'm a student in the healthcare industry or maybe even studying to be cosmetology. But to the surprise of almost everyone, including my parents, I'm actually studying to be a welder. With the dream of actually owning and becoming my own business owner right here in this community. My story begins with my two amazing parents, Juan and Josefina Saavedra. My dad was an agricultural laborer who came to the United States with a work visa and was able to apply for his residency, later becoming a U.S. citizen. He had to quit school at a very young age. The highest grade level he completed was 6th grade. In time, my dad became a welder for the union. That meant moving around a lot. We eventually came to Utah and have lived here for 30 years. We call Tooele our home. Growing up was very difficult for me because I am a first-generation American. That meant that Spanish was a primary language spoken in my home. I remember struggling to understand everyone around me. And homework was extremely hard because my parents only spoke Spanish, but I never gave up. Just like my parents, I worked really hard to do well in school. I have always loved and tried my best at everything that I set my mind to. In high school, I was involved in sports, and I also became the first American Hispanic student body officer through hard work and determination. I was able to maintain my good grades and my standards that I needed. 10 years ago, while pregnant with my first child, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was advised to terminate my pregnancy and start chemotherapy. And I made a decision to continue with my pregnancy, and I have the most amazing son now, Armani. He gave me the strength to fight through my cancer treatments. And Adonis is my youngest child. And while all I can say is he is the Energizer bunny that just never stops. In June, he was diagnosed with autism 3. Life isn't easy, but it has taught me a whole lot of patience. And I am happy to report that I am cancer-free and expecting a little baby within the next 20 days. But who's counting? And I do plan to graduate this spring. Before enrolling into Tooele Tech, I worked from home. I knew it wasn't enough to sustain my family, and I made the difficult choice to leave my job of 9 years to learn a new trade. I enrolled in the welding program in July of 2023. It was a very difficult decision, and only recently did I tell my dad that I would be following in his footsteps. And those are some pretty big shoes to fill. As a woman and a single mother, I have truly been blessed to be accepted and welcomed into a non-traditional field of welding. To say that I am busy and stressed is an understatement. I even asked my instructor if it would be better if I quit school. The support of a Tooele staff, my instructors, my peers, has been amazing. And when I have any questions or I just need to juggle my busy schedule between being a college student and a mother to my children, I know that the resources that I need to help me succeed are available to me at any time. Coming to Tooele Tech has truly opened my eyes, not only to the possibility of changing my life financially, but a mental transformation. I'm surrounded by amazing people in class. Each of my instructors has contributed to my success in the welding program. Every day that I come to school, I look forward to seeing my lead instructor, Greg. His perspective on life in general. He has the ability to make things that make me just smile and laugh, and he gives me that positive energy that I need to just start my day. And before I can even open my welding book, having Josie, a female instructor that has given me the confidence that gender isn't a factor in being successful in the welding program. And we have Sean. Sean gives me the patience and the mental reset to be able to cope with the chaos that comes with being in school and managing my personal life. And Dave. Dave always has this great attitude, and he just gives me positive reinforcement and encourages me to do my very best work. I've been able to learn so much more than welding at Tooele Tech. The staff has made me feel like I just truly belong. I have gained a friendship that will last a lifetime. We all have struggles and bad days, but while coming to Tooele Tech, I'm able to focus and have a positive attitude. I am making a difference in myself and my children's future, and I will be forever grateful to everyone at Tooele Tech, and I want to thank President Hacking for allowing me this opportunity. I'm extremely blessed to be here. Not only do I feel safe and accepted, but despite my age, my gender, and my trials, the best choice I could have made for myself as an adult was to continue my education. It's never too late to make your dreams become a reality. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. That's such an inspiring story, so love to hear that. Thank you so much, President Hackett.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 8, which is a public hearing and motion on ordinance 2023-44, an ordinance of Tooele City amending Tooele City Codes Chapters 7-11A-18 regarding multifamily residential building materials, 7-11A-12 regarding multifamily residential landscaping standards, and 7-11A-25 regarding deviations from multifamily residential design standards, presented by Andrew Agard, the Community Development Director.
Thank you, Chairman Brady, members of the City Council. At your November 15th City Council meeting, I presented some proposed amendments to the design standards for multifamily residential developments regarding exterior building materials, landscaping, and deviations from those design standards. As was discussed at that meeting, I have made some adjustments to the proposed exterior material standards. One of those changes was we increased the amount of brick and stone on the front building facades and public street-facing facades to 40%. The ordinance amendments also include an increased list of approved building materials for the exterior of these buildings. And we reduced the requirement of using at least 3 down to 2 of those materials from the approved list. And then one material shall not cover more than 70% of the facades not requiring brick or stone. And then we also added a new requirement that the brick or stone requirement shall be distributed through each unit when the structure involves townhomes. This elevation, I think, is a good representation of what this ordinance, the kind of architecture that this ordinance will yield. What I did not put in the code is require a minimum amount on each unit. That way the designer could have some flexibility to put more stone on one unit, maybe a little bit of stone, a little less stone on another. However, the requirement to put stone on every unit is in the code. So I anticipate that we would see designs such as this. In regards to the landscaping, the amendments that are proposed are exactly what was presented at your November 15th meeting, no changes there. And then the same goes for the deviation from design standards. And then the Planning Commission held a public hearing and at its December 13th meeting, and the Planning Commission voted 5-2 to recommend in favor of the proposed amendments. So if the City Council has any questions about these proposed amendments, I'm happy to try and answer those for you.
All right, any questions or comments from the council?
Would you explain to me about the 711-A-25, about the deviations part of this? Would you just re-go over that with me again?
Staff is recommending that this section of the code be removed entirely. It's a very cumbersome code. It tends to circle back on itself, and it's difficult for interpretation by both staff and those that are requesting it.
So that would take it so that they can't request changes, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to
Correct.
request
Okay.
a deviation from the design standards.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. This has a public hearing as part of it, so we will open up the time to the public. We ask that you state your name into the microphone, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and then sign the paper over by Michelle and Loretta. Time is now the public's. Seeing no one come forward, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Or we can discuss more if you feel like we need to discuss something.
I kind of have a question now
Okay.
about the trees. I'm just wondering about, and I think you might have told us, but will you remind me about how you came up with that number and what that looks like on an acre?
So the number that I came up with, I looked at 10 to 30, and the previous jurisdiction that I worked for, they required 20 trees per acre. And I found, after working with them and reviewing numerous site plans and landscape plans, that 20 trees per acre worked well. It may sound a little crowded, but keep in mind that there are trees of varying sizes. There are trees that grow very large. There are trees that do not grow large. There are also very small trees. And I think 20 trees per acre was a very good fit in regards to the fact that you can have varying sizes of trees. But that's where I come up with that number. It's what has been used previously in another jurisdiction, and it worked well for us.
Okay.
I think when we talked about that, Ed, you had said that 20 trees is quite a bit for an acre, right?
Yeah,
Because I had suggested maybe more, but
yeah, well, I was just going off my own property. I have 18 trees in an acre and a half, but it's not too much, I don't think, but it's just, so you got 20 for an acre. I think it's still okay as long as you break them up and do different things.
Yeah, I mean, if you put
You don't want big giant trees, yeah.
if you put 20 bur oaks
Yeah.
and they all grow, it could get a
That
little
would be
tight.
bad,
But
yeah.
Be a
if
little
you do one
crowded.
bur oak, maybe a
And have
couple
lots of
Alberta
shade.
spruces, you might be okay.
So do we require them to have a variant, a different kind? It can't just stay with one tree?
The ordinance does have a requirement of 20 or 60-40 mix of deciduous versus coniferous trees.
Okay.
And then it also requires that the species of trees they use come from the Tooele City tree species list.
okay.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind, guys, Justin's on the tree thing.
Yeah, I'm all for as many trees as we can get.
I like a lot of trees too. It just seems like I think some properties are a little different than others. So if you have experience, I'm going to trust your judgment.
And that's
And
what
it does-
landscape architects are good at, is picking trees that are appropriate for certain locations.
My son is a landscape architect, so I do know that.
Excellent.
Okay, any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2023-44, an ordinance of Tooele City amending Tooele City Codes, Chapter 711A-18 regarding multifamily residential building material, 711A-12 regarding multifamily residential landscaping standards, and 711A-25 regarding deviations from the multifamily residential design standards.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Councilman McCall, a second from Councilman Hanson. We'll take it to a vote. Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilman McCall?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. That passes 5-0. Item 9 is a public hearing and motion on ordinance 2023-45, an ordinance of Tooele City amending the Tooele City Annexation Policy Plan, an element of the Tooele City General Plan, presented by Andrew Agard, the Community Development Director.
Thank you, Council. Also, at your November 15th City Council work meeting, I presented some changes to the city's annexation policy plan, which is an element of the Tooele City General Plan. I also presented at that meeting the reasons behind the proposed changes, as conditions outside of and inside of the city have changed since the previous plan was adopted. This is the annexation policy plan as proposed by city staff. All areas except Area A have been removed from the annexation policy plan. At the November 15th City Council work session, staff was directed to take the proposed amendments to the annexation policy plan through the public process. We had a public hearing at the December 13th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting where the proposed amendments were presented and a public hearing was held. The Planning Commission voted 5-2 for an unfavorable recommendation or recommending against staff's proposed amendments to the plans. It is now here before you to decide what you want to do with this and direct us further. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
All right, any questions or comments from the council?
Did they give a reason?
Yes. Do you want me to read my notes? Let's see. We had recently gone through a master plan, setting up the master plan and gone through a lot of hard work over a span of at least a year to get that master plan. And the plan is good. And we took a lot of time with public input to have that plan. And it didn't seem like we really need to change that since the process for annexation is a lengthy and difficult process, and that process works. We've seen it work just recently. And so they really thought that we should cut out things that are not in our jurisdiction, like there are things in our plan right now that are now in URDA or Grantsville, I think. But we should leave the rest and let the plan work. Recognizing that, we have issues in our city, but it's like closing the doors and saying we never want to talk about this again without going through all this extra work when it's already a lot of extra work to go through in the first place. That's what I wrote down.
Sounds right.
Okay. Several weeks ago when we talked about this, I shared my opinion on keeping the two areas. I can't remember what number they are, though. It's the
K and D.
K and D. Yes. Is it D? Yeah. Hub smelter.
I think there was some discussion about keeping them and eliminating the others at the planning commission meeting
Right.
too.
And I support removing the areas that have been incorporated into another jurisdiction, Grantsville, URDA. I just think we keep Area K and Area D. So, any other comments, questions?
I agree with that as well. But the areas that have already been that are already in URDA and that is already in Grantsville, why would we not remove them?
We should remove those.
No, I think we should remove them.
We should remove those.
And why would the planning commission think we should keep them in there?
No, they thought we should remove those.
Okay.
But, yeah, but
Then we
keep the
probably
others.
should have just modified what we was doing and just said we want to remove this one, A, B, C, and leave the rest. Because now we got to go back and bring this back again, right?
No,
No.
we can
Can we
vote
make a
on it.
motion and change it?
No,
Yeah.
All right.
You can either for or against it. You have the planning commission's recommendation. Now you as the legislature are free to do what you think is best for Tooele City.
Okay, any other questions before we open it up to the public? Okay. This also has a public hearing, so we will open the time up to the public. The time is now the public's.
My name is Randy Goches, and yes, I'm the husband of the new city councilman, Melody, but I don't want anyone to think that I always agree with her or I have my own opinions, just like all taxpayers in this city should have and be allowed to have their own opinions. I pay a great deal of taxes to the city and to this county. But anyway, if I'm understanding right, the proposal is to build a fence around our city? Is that what we're talking about? Building a fence around it, no more future annexation? If a county property borders us now, we want to lock them out? Is that what the change is too?
After your comment, we'll address your question. So we let
Okay,
the.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
understand it first. And if so, if that is the case, I deal a lot, I'm a salesman in the building industry, and I travel all through the state of Utah, and particularly the Wasatch Front, and I get to see annexations occasionally, and I get to see vision often. And I think they go hand in hand. If we build this fence around our community and say to a bordering neighbor, if they're in the county or wherever, sorry, you can't come in anymore, I think we're not making the right decision. because who knows what lies in 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or even 20, when our children or grandchildren are trying to do something. Unless I'm misunderstanding, and that's a possibility, but if that's what we're doing is changing the annexation rule, I think the annexation law that you have in place now works. They have to apply, right? Have to apply and go through a process. And so why not leave that as it is? That still don't guarantee they get in, but at least they have the opportunity and the possibility. I don't think that building that fence and saying no more annexation is the answer. That's my personal opinion. I wanted to share that with the council and the mayor and the attorneys and all of the building department that have a vision. And who knows what that vision is? None of us have a crystal ball. And so we don't know, but to make a decision today or 2 weeks from now saying no more, I'm very excited about Grantsville's vision and the fact that they annexed all the way in, and they've got all kinds of industry going, and their tax dollars are going to do nothing but increase. Had they taken that stance and not allowed it, they would be losing out on that money. But that's my 2 cents. Thanks for the opportunity, and I need to sign somewhere?
Yeah, right over here.
I could sign first. Curtis Beckstrom, Pine Canyon, for your record, I guess. In the past, I have not been a fan of annexations in general. My belief is that most residents don't want it to be forced into an area that they weren't in when they moved in. So I'm not sure if the residents of any of these areas that are possibilities would be something that those residents would want. Where I'm just out of the city limits by half mile in Pine Canyon, and I don't want to be annexed, but then I might want you later. So my question kind of is, if you make this decision, couldn't it be undone in 2 or 3 or 4 years, technically? That's my belief system, is you can always change it. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public? Seeing no one else come forward, I will close the public hearing and turn the time back to the council. We can talk about anything we want to. So I agree with Randy. I don't think, that's why I think we keep certain areas in the plan, is because who knows 5-10 years from now what that area could be. So I expressed that in the work meeting where we discussed that I do think that just having it in the plan doesn't mean that they're going to be annexed in. It just says that we'll entertain any options. And we saw this process, just like Councilwoman Manzione said, it is a long process for a developer to try to annex in property. Curtis, you had said these areas, as far as someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no residents that live in any of these areas. They're all undeveloped areas from my understanding. So it doesn't affect someone who is currently living in a house or has a business or anything like that. It's undeveloped land currently, and then the property owners would have to either sell or work with a developer to try to annex into the city. So is there any other discussion? If we don't like something, we don't have to vote on it tonight. It's just, it came back to us with the recommendation from the Planning Commission, so.
We can also vote against it if we want to.
Yeah, yep. And we could amend it, like Roger said, if there's areas that we feel like should still be in the annexation plan. I don't think we should keep any area that is part of an incorporation, though, like Grantsville, Erda, those, to me, should automatically come out. They won't be annexed into our community, so.
So do we amend that tonight, or do we just come back again?
I think we could amend it tonight if we can agree on which areas to leave in the plan, if we all agree that there should be areas left, or a majority agrees, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think anybody that's already, any area that's already incorporated into somewhere else should be there. And I know some of the concerns that the staff and administration have brought forward are, water and traffic and all of the things that are real problems in our city. But the good thing is, when you go through that annexation process, those are all the things that you discuss, and we would have to make sure that those things really do meet our needs of the city, or we have a way to take care of those needs. So I think that is taken care of in what I think is an arduous process for annexation.
So Area H, now that the map's up, is that part of Erda City? I think that's the one that splits the rail, trying to find it in my packet, but.
Area H is not part of Erda City. It is unincorporated area. Erda City's boundary is where the yellow property is.
So Area C is part of Erda.
Area C is part of Erda. Yeah.
All of that area.
C and J.
Okay. We did have a developer that came and I think he owns the land in Area H, and they would have their own struggles with sewer and things like that. They really wanted to just attach to Tooele City sewer system and not annex in, which we're not in favor of that. But I'm okay keeping that area as well. I don't know what potentially that could be in the future. I think it'd be a great industrial area or light industrial. It's right by the railroad. I think the railroad splits that area, if I'm thinking right.
It does.
Diagonally, right?
Yeah. So.
And I agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm, long story short, saying I think we should keep in the unincorporated areas that still have the potential to be annexed in and are not part of another incorporated city. So that's my recommendation. So Area H, Area K, and Area D.
What about areas E and G on the southwest corner of the city?
And Andrew, Mr. Chair, if I could address.
Yeah, please.
Did you send out public notice to landowners that would be affected in these areas? Were they notified?
We did not send out individual notices. We're only required to post the notices in various locations, the state website, the city's website, and so forth. We did not send out individual notices.
Okay. So there was no public comment that we should consider in this decision?
No, nothing beyond what was offered in this meeting tonight.
Okay.
So Area E's by the jail, correct?
Yes.
South of the jail.
South of the jail.
Area E.
And Area G extends out into Bauer.
Wasn't there discussion about that would be a difficult thing to get sewer out to there? Was that the?
There are no utilities out there other than what was provided for the jail. And in order to extend those utilities, it would have to be a looped system put in with a great cost. If Area E goes, Area G is no longer contiguous to the city's boundary and cannot be annexed at all. So if we want Area G, we have to keep Area E. But Area E is largely undeveloped because most of it is mountainous sloped issued property. So, other than the frontage right adjacent to SR 36.
But even at that, I mean, I think we had somebody approach the city, maybe it was just at a pre-development meeting, about putting in a development kind of in the part that's already in Tooele City there. It was really impractical because there's no sewer. So it didn't happen. But again, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know if a water line's going to come through at some point. I mean, I can't imagine it happening, but does it hurt to have it in the plan?
Right.
They still have to go through a whole process. We would still have to say, if somebody wanted to annex Area E, and we would say, sure, you can annex if you put in a sewer system, then most likely they're not going to do it. But at some point, somebody might.
I think it could benefit the city in some circumstances that we know the water situation and that at some point we have to get water outside of this valley, and maybe at that time, 20, 30 years from now, a developer's willing to do something in that area. So I'm fine with keeping that as well. And to be annexed in, there has to be a supermajority of the council that agrees to that. So that would be a at
Out of
least
5.
4 council members that are approving that. So those of us who have got, I think all of us were here at one point.
Well, I was
At the
here one
beginning, you were here, though. So we know how the process works for annexation, and it's not like the developer comes in and says, I'm annexing in.
And we say, okay.
There's a lot of discussion, and the city does require a lot of things for them to come in. So I'm okay keeping that area as well. I don't know about Area E, was it? The map's so small that I just.
That was one of them to keep.
Okay. Does anyone is everyone okay with Area G and Area E? Okay. Really, we just keep everything that's
Like I said,
not,
I can't imagine it being developed, but
me either, but. Okay, so right now I have Area D, K, H, E, and G. Anything else? F is. I'm
You
reading
said
the
you have
notes.
D, K, H, and G?
So we would remove Area J, Area C. I think that's it so far, right?
And Area F.
And Area F. I don't know, Area F, is that Grantsville or?
Area F is the light blue, and there's 2 sections of it. There's the section that's completely surrounded. That's the section that is shown there in the magenta. But there's also another little section just to the north of that that's currently part of the Tooele Army Depot. And who
So
knows if
remove
the federal
that.
government will bust that out. I mean,
Yeah, I would be okay removing that.
Council, that was originally, at one point, the Army actually did apply for annexation. It's been a long time, but Industrial Loop Road crosses property that's in the county that's owned by the Army before it gets into the city Army Depot. And that is some of the background behind why that might be considered. Right now, we have an easement across Army property to be able to have Industrial Loop Road there.
interesting.
I mean,
So then we'll probably need to keep that.
I'm okay if we keep
If
that
you
as
keep that.
well, yeah. I missed these other areas. So there's Area A, B, I, is it? J, and C that look like they're in Grantsville or Erda. Is that what everyone else is seeing? So I would be in favor of just removing those and then keeping the remainder of the plan. Anyone else have any strong opinions or discussions?
And that would be H, D, K, and
We would keep in Area C, no, H, K, D,
E and G.
E, G, and F. So really, we would just be removing those that are already part of Erda or Grantsville.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Everyone okay with that? Okay, I'll entertain a motion, or I can make a motion. Okay. I'm going to make a motion. So our current annexation plan has all of those areas. So my motion is that I make a motion that we remove Area A, Area B, Area I, Area J, and Area C, and then keep the remaining annexation plan as it currently is.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
I'm going to say nay.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady, and I vote aye. That passes 4-1. Okay, we'll move on to item 10, which is public hearing and motion on ordinance 2023-46, an ordinance of Tooele City reassigning the land use designation for approximately 6.9 acres of property located at 1232 West Utah Avenue from light industrial to industrial, presented by Andrew Agard, the Community Development Director.
thank you, Chairman Brady. This land use map amendment applies to the Marcosian Auto property, highlighted in orange on the aerial photograph. It is located north of Utah Avenue and west of the Union Pacific Railroad. Marcosian is requesting a land use map amendment and a change to that to the industrial designation in order to facilitate a change in zoning on the property to industrial. Currently, the property is designated as regional commercial and is zoned as light industrial. The applicant would like to eventually change the zoning to industrial in order to facilitate some additional uses in addition to the existing auto sales facility currently operating on the site. Auto sales are permitted use in the light industrial zone as well as the industrial zone. However, the applicant wishes to use the site for longer-term vehicle storage. It is staff's understanding that in addition to selling the vehicles, they wish to store vehicles that have been damaged and are awaiting insurance claims as well as the storage of repossessed vehicles. They would also like to do auto body repair in conjunction with these vehicles and in conjunction with the automobile sales. Both the vehicle storage use as well as auto body repair are not permitted in the light industrial zone. Now, you may note that there are vehicles stored on the site currently. We do understand that automobile dealerships do have storage of vehicles that are being prepped for sale or other things, but what they were doing previously, they had wrecked vehicles lining the back of the property, and they were very cooperative in removing those vehicles, but they would like to use the site for that use. So to change the industrial zone, it would not only bring these two uses to the property, but also enable every other use that is currently permitted in the industrial zone. Industrial uses differ from light industrial uses in that they have a higher propensity to produce impacts on surrounding properties in terms of noise, vibration, odors, glare, and so forth. The Tooele City Planning Commission held a public hearing and voted 7-0 to recommend against the proposed amendments to the city land use map. And it is now here for your decision. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions or comments from the council? Okay. A few years ago, I think I would have been against this, but since then they built, I don't know the name of the company, I think they produce hay.
Terra.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. To me, I think is that a light industrial? Do you know? It seems like an industrial.
That is a
almost.
light industrial zone. So.
Yeah, okay. I'm okay with this. I think my biggest concern is are they required to have a fence or anything to block the cars so you don't see them from the roadway, or is it open it up for everything? That's my biggest concern.
So it would depend. Currently, the ordinance doesn't have a requirement built into that type of use. However, if it were it's a conditional use in the industrial zone. And so the Planning Commission could determine if there's an impact such as, unsightly views or maybe, groundwater protection, and they could approve that with conditions to mitigate those issues. But right now, there aren't any standards built into the ordinance for those uses.
And then how does this differ from the industrial service? There was several years ago, we talked about, I think we had a similar situation where we felt like there was a company that didn't really fit in the industrial. Could this be a good spot for industrial service, or would it have to be industrial only?
It would have to be industrial. Yeah, industrial service it's on par with the light industrial zone.
Okay.
Yeah, that use wouldn't be permitted in that zone either.
That's what the Planning Commission asked also.
I think I asked this last time we was talking about that body shop was in the industrial, not just the light industrial. It still surprises me since it's inside a building generally, But that's when I thought we always should change it to.
Yeah, it's only permitted in the industrial zone.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Planning Commission talked a little bit, I didn't take as good of notes, but a little bit about the unsightliness that was there. And they also talked about how it's really close to residential. So if it is an industrial use, always now, once it's there and it's right next to the residential, is that an appropriate fit? I think
That
But it's
was-
not as close as because there's the railroad,
Railroad tracks and then
yeah, and then there's
the
that
White's
big
trailer
business,
court.
and then there's this other building. So it's split by a light industrial to residential is why I think I'm leaning more towards being okay with this.
And I also attended the Planning Commission, and some discussion that we had was the groundwater and the environmental impact, and it would be detrimental to the adjacent property. So there is an impact when we make a change from a light industrial to an industrial. That would allow a greater use if the car dealership were ever to close and to sell, that leaves that open. And we do have land that is zoned for residential, and we received a comment from the landowner that they were against this because of the opportunity that they have to develop their property. We do have an industrial zone that is right across the street that's appropriate for this type of a business, but I feel that it's not an appropriate change to change from the light industrial to an industrial just because of the impact to surrounding properties and environmental impacts.
Okay, any other discussions, questions? This has a public, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, so that hay building that's there is light industrial?
It is,
And
yes.
that is totally okay for that type of a business?
Yes.
Now, if that company is to be bought out and they run that road through there, which is right where they're planning on running that road, would we have to change this again? I'm just wondering, because is the road allowed to go through light industrial? I'm sure it can go about anywhere.
Yeah, the roads can go just about anywhere regardless of the zoning.
And if that is the case, which means the state would be the one buying them out, and the state would be the one relocating them, if the state decided to move them down the road, I don't think they can force us to change a zoning or anything like that. I don't think they can.
I don't
Well, they
believe,
probably
I don't believe
could.
the state can require the city to rezone a property. Roger can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
So
but
that, they would have to find another light industrial area to move him, that building that I'm talking about.
Industrial.
Yeah, the state would have to acquire their property through eminent domain or negotiation. If I might, I'm remembering that when you approved the new zoning district for the commercial park, and anticipating that the Mid-Valley Highway would go through there, you put special conditions on businesses facing those public roads, that they had to have certain walls, that they had to have certain facades, that they couldn't have certain uses. I was wondering if that would have any applicability to your discussion about this, knowing that when the Valley Highway comes in, the view will be of an impound lot kind of place.
That was kind of sort of what I was getting at eventually. Is anyone being so, yeah, I'm down.
And were there any comments from adjacent landowners that were notified of the change, the requested change?
there was just one comment from Jacob Clegg, representing the Clegg family that owns a lot of the property to the north. They expressed some concern. He expressed his comment in person to me. He didn't submit a written comment and didn't attend the Planning Commission meeting. But he expressed some concern about having industrial uses so close to his property, which currently he uses for rangeland. That was the only comment we received.
There's probably not another landowner, is there?
Just Hasentera to the southeast, yep, and then Clegg to the north.
Okay, so they've expressed their opinion. Thank you.
They did.
Can you remind me of the Planning Commission's recommendation? It was 7-0.
It was 7-0 against it.
Against it.
Keeping it as it is.
I mean, yeah, okay. This has a public hearing, so okay. This has a public hearing. We will turn the time over to the public. Just state your name into the mic and time is now the public's.
Looks like I'm ready to jump out.
You raised your hand, so yeah.
I'm Al Barrow with Marcosi and Otto, and I represent them. We're the one that asked for this variance on the change. And our reasoning is because we do want to expand out in this area to a paint booth shop area and other facilities and detail shop and things like that. Nick Markosian's vision is, you know, he's going to centralize his business out in this area. And again, you know, he currently has between 35 and 40 employees at that facility right now. And I must admit, and I do want to apologize, that when we first took that property and all these cars came in, and there was an abundance of cars everywhere, they lined them up on the back north fence, and it looked like a junkyard. And I do want to express my apologies for that type of behavior. And would like to tell you that that's not our intention to make it look like that ever again. Currently, we are constructing a fence 8 foot high. It's approximately a little bit more than half an acre to 3/4 of an acre. It's 8 foot high. It'll be completely enclosed, and it will be lit. And again, you know, I want to express the fact that, you know, we're not in the storage business of cars. Our business is selling cars and refurbishing cars so we can put a good product out on the road. And Nick Markosian's idea is if he's not has cars out on the road, he's not making any money. If they're not burning gas, he's not making money. And so one of the examples I wanted to provide today is, you know, the word storage. When I think of storage, I think it's going to be there for a while. But the reality is Nick Markosian pays approximately $4 a day in interest for every car that sits on that lot. So that tells you that his interest isn't really in storing cars. It's to get them back out on the road, sell them, liquidate them, whatever needs to take place. When we built this facility, we do have a gray water storage tank for wastewater that's hauled off by Tooele Valley Pump, which is another vendor that we use out here. And we're happy to be using them. They've been great to work with. You know, every vendor that has, first of all, our attitude is to use as many local vendors as we can. We've been using Gillies Fab and stuff. And so I've used Broken Arrow as a part of our construction area. They've helped us out in several areas out there. So it is our intention, you know, to use the people in Tooele as well as use the companies that are here and established first. And again, I mean, we don't want to be a wrecking yard. That's not what we want to be. We want to be a car seller. And again, it's Nick's hope and vision that, you know, at some point you'll see that we want to be part of this town and part of this community. And, you know, we plan on staying here for a long time. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them, if I can.
I had one in the presentation. They talked to, and in this, they talked about you having an impound lot there. Was your intention to have an impound lot there?
No. It was not at all to have an impound lot.
Okay.
So like when they repossess a car, we give them 30 days to come either pay current or make some type of satisfaction against the judgment. So we're by law have to hold the car and their property for 30 days. We can't get rid of the car, can't get rid of the property in the car. So until some type of judgment has been issued, you know, we're bound to store that car. Unfortunately, how we stored that car was rather unethical. And I've expressed my views on that as well. And again, we are taking, you know, current, you know, building a fence, securing the properties in different manners than we currently were. And I have to admit, we kind of got head over heels when we opened. Oh, we have a brand new building. Let's get all these easy cars out on the road. And we just kind of had a corner if we don't care about this part, and that was on us, and I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Will you come and sign this?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing no one come forward, I will close the public hearing and turn the time back to the council.
Mr. Chair, if I could make a comment. Roger, were you going to make a comment?
Go ahead.
My comment was just, once we change that zoning to increase that to the industrial area, then that opens up a whole plethora of what could possibly be on that location. And so that my intent is that I'm not going to vote in favor of this because of the history that we have of range and agricultural use that borders his property that also has the potential for residential. And, one of the reasons that one of the items that we've been discussing on annexation is that we have areas that could be developed for residential within Tooele City. This is one of those properties if the landowners were to develop or to sell to a developer. So I believe that changing to that zoning would be detrimental to the future of that property. So that's my comment.
Yeah, I have some of those same concerns, and not because I like what you said and the fence and all that, but the same thing, it's industrial forever then, and a business isn't always forever, although I'm sure you hope it is. It's not. So that was going to be really, this only industrial is the only zone that this would fit in. Just seems like a not very industrial thing to me.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, there is to be anticipated some ancillary storage of vehicles, especially with an auto dealership. But in order to do an auto body repair and paint booth and so forth, it has to have the industrial zone. That's the only zone that is permitted in the city.
See, and I personally think that should be changed.
I agree.
Me too.
Thought that all along, that we should change that and take it out of the industrial and it should be in light industrial body shop. That's just, I think that's something that we need to pursue looking at. Because I don't, a body shop's indoors, they have their requirements to take care of their dust and their so forth, and so I'm just not sure why it's there. I mean, it's no different than an auto repair shop or something like that, really,
There's two ways that Marcosian can resolve this issue, and they're doing one of those ways. They're trying to change the zoning. The other option would be to change the text and allow this use to occur in the light industrial zone.
Yeah.
You could also allow that use to occur as an ancillary use only to an automobile dealership in the light industrial zone. So there are other alternatives, but if the city council wants to direct staff to look at that, we'd be happy to do that for you.
So you could say, the last thing you said, that it could only be a dealership that would
And you could have it in the table of commercial uses, an auto body repair shop as an ancillary use only to an automobile dealership in the light industrial zone. I mean, we can tailor that any way you'd like if that's something you're interested in.
I mean, I would be more in favor of doing that than rezoning it to industrial.
We had a lot of discussion when that got changed to the zoning it is, about not
Right.
wanting industrial there. I think
Yeah.
that was probably on the council then.
I just have a hard time, and this kind of goes back to the annexation, but I don't anticipate houses ever going along that main Utah Avenue. It's going to be an industrial, commercial, light industrial. That's what I picture that area, especially with the Mid-Valley Highway being in that area. So that's why at the beginning I said I've kind of changed my views on this area just a little bit. But so I would prefer to go the other route, though, where we don't rezone it to industrial and then we try to find another way to make that possible for them. I think it's a good business to have there and it's a good spot for it. But
Is it possible to get that and have that back to us at our next meeting?
I could bring that to a work session. We'd then have to take it through the public process, planning commission and so forth. But if the city council would like me to tinker with that, I can do that.
Can I ask this? What is the current land use designation for, since we've already discussed it, the Clegg property that's used for range and agricultural? I believe that is zoned, it's regional commercial.
Yeah, the property is regional commercial, which is regional commercial zoning and research and development. So it's not industrial.
Right. Which is what the property was to begin with before Marcosian purchased the property. They requested a change to the zone. We changed it from regional commercial to the light industrial to allow their business.
And Councilwoman Goches, ironically, it was the Clegg family that asked us to zone it to light industrial in the first place.
I would feel better about a text amendment, personally.
Yeah, and I agree.
Because I like the business, I get what you're trying to do, I understand that, I just have a heartburn making it industrial.
Would that, as the representative for Marcosium, would that satisfy your needs if there was a text amendment that allowed it rather than just a rezoning of the land?
It would take a little longer.
Yeah.
About another 3 months. So. Just because of the public process it has to go through.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah. I understand all of your concerns about changing that to industrial, because then we do cross over the road, but I just have a hard time seeing this ever being residential. It's going to be industrial, light industrial.
At least along the main road.
Yeah, along the main
Along
road, so.
Along the road coming through.
Yeah. So I'm fine either way. I don't really have a strong opinion. I 100% understand the concern about it being industrial forever. That is a concern. So, okay. Well, I think we can vote on this. It sounds like there's a majority.
Council, may I just make one statement? I'm going to talk on behalf of our awesome business. When they were notified that those vehicles could not be there, they moved them immediately. They have been a very great partner to work with. They are bringing sales tax and property tax to this community, and that is what we're always asking for, is a great business that will come in and help relieve the tax burden on our taxpayers. So I would love to work with Andrew to bring you back as soon as possible a text amendment to make this work.
Agreed, man.
I think that's what gives me such heartburn, is I know the business is good and we need the business, just it's that zoning, so, yeah, I would love that.
It's just to build upon the mayor's comments, that was probably the easiest code enforcement action I ever undertook, was with them in the
That's
cars.
awesome.
They were very responsive, so.
And we want them here and doing their thing, so. And you're right, a car sales business, if they're not going to have their stuff, that they fix them and they take care of the bodywork internally, then they got to go elsewhere to do that, so. It's better for their business plan to do what they need. So yeah, I think we just try and change that and get them back here and approve it as soon as you can.
Okay, I can do that.
I think we should still make a motion on this.
Could we approve it with that text amendment? Oh, no, okay, yeah, it's got to go back to, okay.
You should have a motion of some kind on this item, and then you can consider a different item in the future.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll try and make a motion. I move that we deny the request to reassign the land use of ordinance 2023-46, reassigning land use designation for approximately 6.9 acres of property located at 1232 West Utah Avenue from light industrial to industrial, but that the staff works with with Marcosium Auto to work on a text amendment to,
Light industrial.
yeah, to make a use in light industrial for auto dealerships only to an ancillary use with the auto body thing.
Clear as mud.
That's very professional, isn't it?
Auto body thing, I like it.
All right, we have a motion.
Does that work?
Yeah, it works.
I second it.
Okay. Roger, that all sound okay? Okay. We have a motion from
Sorry.
Councilwoman Manzio and a second from Councilman McCall. We'll take it to a vote. Councilwoman Manzio?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilman McCall?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. Okay. So not industrial, but we'll work on a plan for that. Item 11 is Resolution 2024-01, a resolution of the Tooele City Council declaring certain technology-related equipment and certain personal property surplus and authorizing its disposal from the library. This is presented by Michelle Pitt, the city recorder.
Thank you. The library has a number of technology-related equipment that just are no longer meeting their needs. And they have kept that equipment and used it as much as they can. But now they are asking for it to be declared surplus so that it can be disposed of. We'd like to dispose of it by using a recycling company. And so we're just asking that the council declare it surplus.
Okay, any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve Resolution 2024-01.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Hanson, a second from Councilwoman Manzione. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. That passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 12 is ordinance 2024-01, an ordinance of Tooele City Council establishing the dates, times, and places of its public meetings in 2024, presented by Michelle Pitt, the city recorder.
Okay, thank you. Our city charter and our city code requires that the city council prescribe by ordinance the date, time, and place of its public meetings, and that we have at least one public meeting each month. So we would like to request that those be held here at City Hall at 90 North Main Street, that we have a work meeting at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Wednesdays of every month unless noticed otherwise, and business meetings at 7 o'clock p.m. on the first and third Wednesdays of the month unless noticed otherwise. And so those dates fall on January 3rd and 17, February 7 and 21, March 6 and 20, April 3 and 17, May 1 and 15, June 5 and 19. For July, it falls on July 3rd. We've decided not to hold a meeting on July 3rd this year, so it'll just be July 17th. August 7 and 21, September 4 and 18, October 2 and 16, November 6 and 20, and December 4 and 18.
Okay, any questions or comments from the council? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we approve ordinance 2024-01 with the meeting times as established.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Councilman Hanson and a second from Councilwoman Goches. We'll take it to a vote. Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson? Councilman McCall?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. That passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 13 is Resolution 2024-02, a resolution of the Tooele City Council amending the city fee schedule to include a public improvement completion extension fee, presented by Roger Baker, the city attorney.
Thank you, council. I know that's a mouthful, but when you as a council approved the subdivision process changes, a couple of the changes that we addressed in those amendments included the ability to ask you for extensions of the preliminary subdivision approval, of the final subdivision approval, and of the time period within which they have to complete the public improvements. So that's 3 types of extensions they can come and ask you for. 2 of those already have fees in the fee schedule, the preliminary and the final extensions, and they're $150. It's a nominal fee to help cover some of the staff costs to process the application. So we're simply recommending that for the bond extension, for which we do not have a fee, that we put a fee in the fee schedule and that it be the same as the other 2 extensions, a nominal fee of $150. That's about it.
Okay, any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 2024-02.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Manzione and a second from Councilman McCall. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
I'm Councilman Brady. I also vote aye. That passes 5-0. Item 14 is invoices and purchase orders, presented by Michelle Pitt, the city recorder.
Thank you. We have an invoice from the Arts Council, the Tooele City Arts Council, And this is for our contribution to them of $117,500. And then I had 2 additional invoices come in that you haven't seen yet. One of them is they're both to Bonneville Equipment Company. They're both for Kubota utility vehicles. One is for the Parks Department, $42,463.06, and the other is for the cemetery, $39,402.45. And they have requested those in their budget as well.
Okay, any questions or comments?
I just wondered what the equipment was that, you just said Bonneville Equipment, and where's that going? The 42,000, are they both going to the cemetery or?
One of them's going to the cemetery and one is to the parks.
Parks, pardon me, okay.
Yeah.
It's a utility? Side by side.
Side by side.
A utility
One or
vehicle.
multiple, or? Okay.
Are those back ordered like everything else in?
We're supposedly number 19 and number 28 with an order of 56.
Wow.
Okay. So you'll get them someday. Okay.
They're both designed for snow removal, and so we're hoping that we can get them
Before that.
this year for removal of the new trail, snow removal on the new trail, and then just at the cemetery.
We should hope that we get some snow that
I
needs to
know.
be removed.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the invoices and purchase orders as stated.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion from Councilwoman Goches and a second from Councilman Hanson. We'll take it to a vote. Councilman McCall?
Aye.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
Aye.
Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
And Councilman Brady also vote aye. That passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Item 15 is our minutes from the October 18th, 2023 RDA meeting, the December 20th, 2023 work meeting, and the December 20th, 2023 business meeting. Any changes to the minutes? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll take it to a vote. Councilwoman Manzione?
Aye.
Councilwoman Goches?
I'll abstain since I wasn't I'm a council member at that time.
Councilman Hanson?
Aye.
Councilman McCall?
Aye.
And Councilman Brady also vote aye. That passes 4-0. Item 16 is to adjourn at 8:35.